Hello, welcome or welcome back. Thank you so much again for continuing to listen to my ascension journey. If you're here new, um, I am at episode, I don't know, it's almost 90, I think 88 or something like that. But if you want to hear the entire story, please go back to episode one. And I'm telling the entire story of my ascension journey for 5 years from 2020 to 2025, what led up to it, and then what has happened since that time. So when I left off, I had started a relationship with this gentleman. I'm calling him Walter. And everything was like really, really good, like getting to know each other. We seemed to kind of not so much have the same backgrounds because we're from two different cultures, but have experienced almost the same things, difficulties, and a lot of also family traumas and feeling abandoned by our families too. So maybe also that's what kind of attracted us to each other. And really being open with being able to tell our stories. I remember in the last episode when I began to tell him, about me being a psychic and that I was homeless. Sorry, they're doing maintenance out there. Um, I had been homeless the year before, and um, him kind of understanding and him saying to me, like he had said this before to me. He says, like, you can tell me anything, like it was the first person in so long that I felt like I could really just be able to tell everything to. And I really feel like he felt the same way because he was giving me little stories from when he was younger and things that had happened to him. And there was this bond like kind of growing. So when I had, you know, understood that, oops, I got my timer on, understood that he did not want to get married, and that's something that I wanted. I'm saying, like, can this even work? He ended up coming back after that first time that I had left, and I just said, I don't think this is going to work because I want marriage and you don't. He did come back after like a week and a half. Things again were going well. And then that time, I told him that, I was a psychic and I was homeless, and he didn't really give any response. And the thing is, I wanted to also say is I had been talking about kind of being a social drinker. And I did always like that kind of relaxed feeling after having like a glass of wine. During this phase that I'm in right now, there's going to be a period of time, like you're going to go through this your whole time because really you're kind of doing away with anything that no longer serves you. And I always thought, okay, glass of wine is not going to bother me. I'm at home. If I go out socially, I'm not driving. But I knew that it always, when I was really trying to be fit, um, that wine, the consumption of wine would always slow down my metabolism. So it had that kind of effect. I had gone to wine school. I had gone to also school to become a sommelier. And I did not get my certification, but I went right all the way up to the very end. But I didn't take the final test. So I knew all about wines and years and the grapes and you name it, I knew about it. But again, this was 15 years ago, so I've lost a lot of that information. And I kind of, the desire for that was kind of leaving me also. Um, when I got into, more spiritual things, you know, I, I sought out doing yoga, and wanted to be this more spiritual person. And wine, even though I still did consume it, it didn't seem to be as big of a thing to pursue as previously. So, um, all that to say that coming to a conclusion of like, is this something that I want to continue on in my life? And you come to this point at the end of your, say, journey of making really hard decisions of things that you've done in the past. Do you want to keep those things in your life? Even though saying a glass of wine may not have any deep detriment to me in some way, but really thinking, how does it affect me? And his drinking and my drinking, was it really making a good foundation for two people coming together? So I'll talk more about that later on. But yeah, there's a whole another story to that. So he had left that day. I had gone in my room because I wasn't getting any response from him, and I thought he just felt like, I'm here with this homeless chick, and even though that was part of my journey, um, and I just felt like I was dirty, like he saw it, but I did had no idea what he was thinking in his mind. And I had gone in my bedroom and he just kind of got up and left. And I was like, oh my goodness. I'm sorry, they're testing the fire alarms. You can hear that. So I ended up, it was about now maybe 2 weeks. I didn't hear from him. And I'm just like, I'm not chasing him. I'm not even like, if you're going to walk out on me, like, and it goes that runner chaser type of thing too. So I remember him saying to me, he said, I don't chase women. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? That could have a lot of different meanings to it. And he's like, well, I don't, I guess his meaning was like if a woman leaves, he's not going to chase after her. Um, Not so much that he doesn't pursue women, but he's not going to chase after a woman if she is looking for him to chase after her. Uh, And I know in my past experience, I have chased after men, and you see to my own detriment. So I know I was never going to do that again. So about 2 weeks later, when was this? I think I went to treat myself to a pedicure. It's just the beginning of getting warmer. Beginning of May or something like that. And as I'm kind of getting this feeling that he's soon going to contact me. And on my way home, he texts me and I forget what he says, but by the time I got home, he had jumped in his car and he was at my place not too long later. I think so. That must have been like a Friday. Yeah. He had come down on he had come down and I don't know, I know he didn't want to come in the house and talk. I think like he felt like that was my ground. So kind of like, I forget where we went to talk because so many of these things have happened back and forth. But anyway, he ends up like I didn't want it to end. So he said, why don't you come back with me and, spend the weekend with me? So he said, okay. And I packed up real quick and we drove back up to his place. And it was like really, really nice. And, making me dinner, making me breakfast, and just a really, really nice, relaxing time. And um, brought me back that after the weekend. And I had said to him, like, I love Mission Impossible movies. And the new Mission Impossible movie was getting ready to come out. So that must have been just before Memorial Day weekend. And I had said to him, I really want to see this. I think it was Mission Impossible 5, number 5 or something. So he says, okay, I'll take you, I'll get tickets and everything. We can go. It was going to come out that next weekend. So excited, And I hadn't been to the movies up in this area or for a very long time anyway. So that was the weekend before. Anyway, what else was going on was stuff at work. And I think I had told you guys episodes before about this woman. I think I was calling her Patty at the job, who had started to kind of give me a hard time. She had sent me really a derogatory picture, on the chat. And I had only been there 2 weeks at that time, the year before. And I was kind of like, okay, like I didn't know what to do. Like if I run to my manager and it's already, just 2 weeks in, like is this person here already causing issues, causing problem? The thing too was my manager had worked at the company for a very long time. And she had left because of some other issues. So Patty had stayed in her position, which actually became my position. And then Patty moved up to the next position. So when management position became available, Patty called my manager and said, oh, this management position is available. You should come back. And she did come back and got the position. So she was now manager over our finance group. And um, I kind of, even though it was, it's known that yes, the manager went through the whole process of the application and the interviews and her background and everything like that to get the job. There was also a sense that um, Patty looked at it like, you owe me because I let you know about this job being open. So I kind of feel like the manager was a little bit protective of Patty, and I didn't know how to kind of go to the manager with different issues and problems that were happening with Patty, because was she going to hear me, I'm a new person there. I'm also the only, probably the first Black woman to work in the office there. So I know people are going to say, like, oh, you bring race into it, but take it from how it is from my viewpoint to say that it's hard to be in a, if you flip it, you'll understand. But it was already difficult to be here. Maine is mostly a Caucasian um, state anyway. In some ways, it's nice. Um, and in some ways, it's different, you know. I know I'm going to get comments, but it's okay. It's like how I feel. But I never bring that into anything. I worked on, like I say, Wall Street for 20 years, and I know how things go and how things are. And it's, I feel like on Patty's level, she had an ignorance as far as how to deal with me, whether it be my personality or who I am as a person physically. Um, but that's a whole nother thing. So I was running into issue after issue with Patty, and I got to the point of like, I just need to stay away from this person because the thing was, didn't have the self-confidence, even though she was very loud, laughed a lot. People seemed to like her. Um, she was likable, but also she was harsh in some ways, but she would make it out as a joke. And she kind of made people that she worked with, that she needed information with, fearful. Like, oh, I got to get her that information type of thing. But she kind of played it off, joked it off, like, hey, you better get me that information, like that type of thing. And, but it came from um, a point of internally not feeling good about herself. I know she had told me that, she had lost her brother, and, I said, I had lost my son. I get it. I understand. But anyway, all that to say that that had kind of heightened in the fall of 2024. And then it kind of settled down a little bit. And then I was going through that whole thing with Kate at the house, and that kind of heightened, whereas the stuff with Patty kind of um, went down. So now that the situation with Kate was over, the stuff with Patty now escalated again. And here we are now in late May, and it's really getting ready to boil over. Okay, so I'll talk more about that in the next video. Thank you for being here, and please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.